So imagine trying to build a single digital operating system for 10 different countries at the same time. Sounds kind of crazy, right? Well, that's exactly what the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, is trying to do with its brand new digital blueprint. Let's break down how they're planning to pull it off.
To get a sense of the sheer scale we're talking about, you have to start with the numbers. This plan covers a combined economy worth $3.6 trillion. And remember, we're not talking about a single country here. This is a super complex web of 10 very different nations, all with their own economies and cultures, trying to weave together one seamless digital future.
And it's not just about the money. It's about people. We're talking about over 650 million of them. This blueprint is going to fundamentally shape how they all work, trade, and connect with each other for generations to come.
And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? In a world that's changing faster than ever, how on earth do you create one single, coordinated plan that actually works for everyone and doesn't leave millions of people behind?
Well, the force driving all this change has a name: the Fourth Industrial Revolution, or 4IR for short. Now, this is way more than just new smartphones and gadgets. It's the deep merging of our digital and physical worlds. Think AI, robotics, the Internet of Things, the whole shebang. And look, this revolution is happening whether we're ready for it or not.
So, ASEAN decided to get ready. They've put together this massive, comprehensive strategy to navigate this new world. A master plan that's all about turning the huge challenges of the 4IR into even bigger opportunities. All right, so here it is, the core of the strategy. Think of it like a building. Up at the top, you've got the vision. That's the ultimate goal. Supporting that vision are three main pillars. First, how you govern all this new tech so it's safe and ethical. Second, how you actually build the new digital economy. And third, and this is super important, how you make sure society as a whole actually benefits. And none of it stands, of course, without that strong foundation of enablers at the bottom. So what's the end game? What does success actually look like? Well, the vision is basically threefold. First up, create a digital region that's open and connected, but also, secure and trustworthy. Second, build an economy that's tough, that includes everybody and that can really compete on the world stage. And third, foster a society that uses all this innovation for good, for social progress.
Okay, that all sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like in the real world? Let's zoom in on one of the most critical parts of any economy to see this plan in action: the supply chain.
The best way to get your head around this part of the plan is to think of it like a massive upgrade to the region's entire transport system. And I'm not just talking about roads and ports. I'm talking about the digital highways that manage the flow of everything, from the raw materials to the finished product that ends up in your hands. So what this really means is moving from paper to pixels. A digital supply chain uses all those 4IR technologies to make logistics way smarter, faster, and more transparent. Imagine customs forms that clear instantly, or tiny sensors that track a package every single second of its journey. This shift isn't just nice to have, it's absolutely essential to boost efficiency. Now, to pull off this digital upgrade, ASEAN has laid out a 5-step framework, and it's pretty logical when you look at it. First, you got to get everyone playing by the same rules, across borders. Then you bring in the tech and shift to digital supply chains. And finally, you use that powerful new digital backbone to really integrate all your suppliers and spark some new innovation. And believe me, this isn't just talk, there are very real action items. You can see a few of the key priorities here. Under digital supply chains, the goal is way better coordination, especially for stuff we all need like essential goods. And under supply chain integration, they're doing things like creating shared roadmaps, supporting new startups, and even running pilot programs to prove to some of the slower industries that, hey, this digital stuff really works. But a plan, no matter how detailed it is pretty much useless if you don't have a strong foundation. And that's where these enablers come in. They're the absolute must-haves, the essential ingredients to make the whole thing work.
So the big question is, what's it really going to take to pull this off? What are the absolute non-negotiables for building a truly digital ASEAN?
Well, it really boils down to 4 fundamental pillars. First, you need the actual hardware, the fiber optics, the data centers, the 5G networks. That's the digital backbone. Second, you need smart people with the right skills who are always learning. Third, you need teamwork, governments and private companies all working together. And finally, of course, you need the money, the coordinated investment, to pay for it all.
Okay, so when you put all these pieces together, the big vision, the detailed frameworks, and those critical enablers, you really start to see just how ambitious this whole project is, and more importantly, why it matters so much.
This is basically the transformation in a nutshell. The goal is to go from a bunch of separate, disjointed efforts to a single, integrated digital economy. It's about replacing slow, manual paperwork with tough, tech-powered supply chains, and it's about turning economic vulnerability into a real competitive advantage on the global stage.
Ultimately, it all comes back to this one core idea. It's about using technology as a tool, not just for tech's sake, but a tool to build an economy that's stronger, fairer, more connected, and ready for whatever the future throws at it.
So, the blueprint is there. The ambition is crystal clear. The only question left is, can these 10 nations really come together to build what could be the world's next great digital powerhouse?